and welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 from my last video about my life update. This is my husband Devin. I know you guys have seen him in a few videos here and there, but he's going to be in this video with me today because we are of course making this change together. Devin!
Sorry, I'm quiet.
Alright, so if you've already watched my other video, you already know the beginning, and if you haven't, I will leave that linked also for you to go watch first. You want to watch that one first before you watch this one. As I left off in my last video, I was just kind of talking about how, again, we decided to do this change as a family, and that I truly believe God and universe always give you the experiences that you can handle, and that everything happens for a reason. Like I said in my last video, it took us a few days, even after I knew that I needed to make this change, before I could even eat anything that wasn't plant-based.
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay, so the first thing that we tried were eggs, pasture-raised eggs, and literally I was so nervous I could only take a very little nibble. What about you?
Nervous for sure.
You took a bite. He took a bite before me, actually.
Yeah, it was
the
mindset, definitely hard to get over.
I felt nervous because I was like thinking in my head, like, is this gonna feel okay for me? Am I gonna have an allergic reaction? Is my throat gonna close up? You know, all these things that I was just really nervous about, and in the end, nothing happened. I didn't have any digestion issues. Did you? Nothing felt weird?
Not right away. I guess a few days, a little bit after, little bit of, I don't know how to say that exactly. Just the diet switch, I guess. My stomach did, or I guess my bowels did go a little runny for a little bit, but I mean, that's to be expected with just detoxing anything.
It tasted like egg, pretty much exactly what I remembered, and that was probably the easiest thing for us to start with because it wasn't like eating meat. I mean, you know, vegetarians eat egg, and so it was the first thing we started with.
Definitely what I remembered it to be. Exactly the same.
And so from there, we were doing more and more research because we definitely did not want to support any type of factory farm. We wanted to support local small farms, and that has been our goal, and that's something we still continue to maintain, and we always will. And so we went to our local farmers market, Fulton Street Farmers Market, and so we really just walked up and down because before, you know, we were only going to like
look for the plants,
look for the plant foods or the fruits or things. And so the first time we went on a Friday. And it was funny because they didn't have any like meat or eggs or anything, and so they only had like the vegetables,
which looked great.
They looked great, but it's not what we went there for.
No, very. That was strange. It
was really weird, you know, coming from the lifestyle and things that we had, and so we left with nothing because we didn't need any of that that Friday. And so then we went back Saturday morning, and that is when we found a local farm where we could get 100% grass-fed beef. And that's another thing that I wanted to mention is that my naturopath, we had talked about red foods for me because they were for like my root chakra and for like grounding me, because I also had a lot of brain fog, and you know, I didn't have that mental clarity, and a lot of times I just felt like I couldn't focus. And so initially she had said something to me about red meat, and then she was like, oh no, you can have never mind, I'm sorry, you know, you could have a Beyond Burger. And I knew right away that I didn't want a Beyond Burger for different reasons. And so once I got that confirmation from God and universe, and I finally was accepting, like that's another big thing I kind of had to just accept. It was like about accepting where I was and what I needed to do. And once I finally did that, we went to the farmer's market and we got some grass-fed beef, and it was the first meat I ate. It was a steak, right?
Wasn't the jerky before that?
Oh wait, okay. Okay, actually we did try jerky from Louise Earl Butcher downtown. They partner with local farms as well, and so it was grass-fed, but I don't even, that's why I probably like forgot, like, because I literally had a nibble. I was so nervous. I couldn't even.
Yeah, with everything we were learning and just seeing, definitely decided that we needed not only the eggs, but some kind of meat.
It was very overwhelming.
Pretty soon.
And so, yeah. So anyways, the first meat I ate was steak, minus like a little bite of that jerky. And so it felt weird. I've had steak prior, you know, to these last 8 years. I've had steak before. It's not like I never had it. And so I guess the first bite was really weird and I wasn't sure how I felt about it. But after my second and third bite, I was like, okay, it literally tastes exactly like I remember. I wasn't able to eat much. Like every time I ate something, it was literally only a few bites. How did it feel for you?
Yeah.
He was just going with the flow.
Always. Definitely strange, but it's what I remember. I did it before.
Yeah, and so
I'm always just trying to figure out what the best, healthiest thing is out there. So if that's meat, it's meat. If it's not, it's not. We'll figure that out down the line, but right now.
Yeah, and so also the biggest thing is that we know not all meat or eggs, you know, food in general is not created. Sorry, the battery died. But like I was saying, not every animal product you're going to eat, or even fruit and vegetables, they're not created equally, in the sense that, you know, eating organic matters, non-GMO, no pesticides, no herbicides, no antibiotics, no growth hormones, and again, not supporting factory farms. When we went to the farmer's market, there was a lovely lady there she's a co-owner of the farm, the Crane Dance Farm, and the one thing she said to us is that when you're buying meat from a factory farm, which we already knew a lot about factory farms, right?
Yep.
So when you're buying meat from a factory farm, those animals, every day is a horrible day for them. And the best day is the day they go to slaughter, because then they're no longer, you know, living a miserable life. But on their farm, or any nice regenerative farm where they really respect and take care of those animals, every day is a good day for them. The only bad day they have is the day that their life ends. And that was still a really hard thing for me to accept. It's still definitely something I'm working on. You know, when you go almost 8 years telling yourself that you don't need that, or that it's not good for you, it's unhealthy, it's bad for the environment, etc., you have that mindset, and that mindset is a huge hurdle. Honestly,
I don't know if it ever goes away. It's always there.
Yeah.
Always.
It's like that programming. It was literally programming, I feel.
And that's where the whole like agenda of veganism or plant-based eating, which is not necessarily bad when done correctly, but it's definitely an industry, and we gotta look at who's behind industries when we're doing things.
Yeah, and that was another red flag for us, seeing the people that were investing into plant-based food companies and people that were buying up farmland. I don't want to say anything because nowadays you get censored so much, but that's also another red flag
you look into. And then you look at the oils and I guess the PUFAs, and
that's another really big.
You see what's in your food. That's as a vegan
like
lifestyle and a plant-based lifestyle, you learn to look at labels, but you don't always know what you're looking for if you're taught on those labels that the certain things are better or healthier than certain. I don't even know how to say this.
I know. There's so much that I feel like we're not even going to be able to fit all into this video, so we might have to do another video or at some point with just more information. But that's another really big one. The polyunsaturated fatty acids, they're in everything. but especially vegan foods. And it's something I never knew about and something I never paid attention to until we started looking at our food when we started learning about it, and it was just in everything. And those oils are so inflaming to your body and can cause so many issues in itself that even if you want to stay vegan or plant-based, they're definitely something you need to cut out of your diet for sure if you want to be healthy or have a healthy lifestyle. It's something that definitely everyone needs to avoid.
And that's where I think veganism does work for people if they're eating a whole food, plant-based diet, cutting out all their oils.
Well,
not
this
all their
is
oils,
where we disagree now, because the more I've learned, I've truly come to see that I believe animal foods are required. I know, it's such a crazy shift, but I truly believe that animal foods are required to maintain your health. And also, I no longer see animal foods as detrimental to health, whereas that is definitely one big, like, I don't know what I would call it, but it was definitely one of those big things, kind of like a judgment almost. It was definitely one of those big things that I felt as a vegan. Anytime I saw someone eating an animal product, no matter what it was, I didn't care. I was just like, oh, that's not good for you, that's unhealthy. And I definitely don't see that anymore.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I know we could disagree slightly on if veganism is a sustainable thing, if it is not. Like,
I feel like even as a vegan,
I think there's certain areas of the world really that you can do it better. As for the whole world, I don't. Right now, it's not, especially with our soils the way they are.
Exactly, that's one thing I wanted to bring up. With how depleted our soils are and toxic our waters are, etc., there's no way that our food that we're growing these days, you know, plants and vegetables, fruits, are even as nutrient dense as they once were or as they should be. And then also another really big thing is that animal foods compared to plant foods, their bioavailability, this is one word I never heard before all my health things happened to me. I never heard this.
Or maybe I did and didn't think twice about it.
You know,
who knows?
You'll always see those infographics that are like spinach or broccoli compared to steak. And it's like, oh yeah, that has protein. And you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I can get all those vitamins and all those amino acids.
And so what if I have to eat more of it? That's cool.
But one thing that I didn't realize was how big the difference of bioavailability in plant foods compared to animal foods. So if the percentage is a drastic difference, your body can't even absorb it in the same way, and then you're already missing out on nutrients, which means even if you're eating this amount of food that you think is going to provide you with what you need, its bioavailability isn't there. So you're not even getting everything from that plant like you would think. I've also learned that cholesterol is required for healthy hormones for both men and women. And yes, your body does produce cholesterol, but there are a lot of things that can affect those cholesterol levels in your body. So they can be too low, they can be too high, but you need to be eating cholesterol as well to have everything else in your body functioning correctly, as well as a lot of different vitamins and nutrients you can only get from animal foods, or you can only get the correct form from animal foods like vitamin A, retinol. You can get beta carotene from plant foods, but most people's bodies cannot break it down and absorb it in the way needed. And so just little things like that I've learned, and I've just come to realize that if you want to be this or you want to be that, you're going to look for and find and only listen to the research that you want to hear.
For sure.
You know, in those...
No matter how open-minded you think you are.
Yeah, no matter how open-minded you think you are.
There's a mental
in those 8 years that I was living that lifestyle, I not once did I look outside of this little box of doctors, influencers, people that I like to listen to and follow. it wasn't something I did. And so even over the last year, when I would see things here and there, I would just shut it out and ignore it until I quite literally could not, because my body felt like it was giving out on me.
I have to say, with this shift, that doesn't mean we're cutting out plants by any means.
No,
like,
and
not going straight carnivore.
Nope. That is one thing we are going to talk about, is how we truly believe there needs to be a balance between animal foods and plant foods, what you're eating. And so also one thing, I guess, right now, obviously I'm working on, restoring my health and my nutrient levels. Another thing I didn't really know much about was anti-nutrients or phytic acid or oxalates and all these things that come from plant food that can have detrimental effects on your body as well.
I know this is probably bouncing, but it's something I just thought of. So eating with not only your climate, or not like only with your, I guess, your land or your area,
yeah,
but also eating as your ancestors did for your genetic makeup. I know that can change and everything depending on how you eat. We've seen different studies, so.
Yeah, I think eating locally and of course seasonally is very important. I know that's obviously something that you'll hear a lot, but also for me, again, talking about ancestors, none of our ancestors were vegan. None of our ancestors were plant-based. And even if you look across the world and you look at those blue zones that I know a lot of vegans like to talk about, it's great because they will consume a lot of plant foods, utilize different things, but they're not vegan. And they're still eating primarily seafood and even egg and cheese and things like that. I just don't like when I see a lot of people talk about those blue zones, because I used to be right there and I'd be like, oh yeah, they eat mostly plants, But again, there's no long-standing society. There are no vegan populations. It doesn't, it's, those blue zones are not vegan. They don't eat 100% vegan.
I don't even know the number of vegans that have been truly vegan for the planet, for everything, for long periods of time. There's not the numbers.
There's a lot of people who will call themselves vegan, but we're not vegan in the sense
I've
that,
known plenty.
And I'm not even talking about just eating vegan, or living a vegan lifestyle, because there's some people,
a plant-based lifestyle.
Yeah.
They're saying they're vegan or eating vegan. Like, you can't eat vegan. We know that.
But also they weren't eating vegan. They were still eating like animal foods.
Or if something got in their food, they're like, yeah, that's cool.
Whereas, that's why it's like, even when people, a lot of people don't even know what vegan is. That's one thing we learned when we were, people didn't even know what it was. So we couldn't trust going to different restaurants or eating at people's houses. It was just something, that you experience and you're just like.
I do like the first thing that your dad said to us when we told him.
What did he say?
He asked if Annalie could have a hot dog.
Oh, yeah.
No.
We were like, no.
We're not eating that type of meat.
No.
Definitely going.
Oh, I do want to talk about, though.
With our farms.
I guess one thing that I just kind of want to share is that when my body, was feeling like it was giving out on me and I was having all those symptoms, I had a lot of guilt and shame, and it was hard for me. And I cried because I was this person that people looked up to, and they were like, well, she's natural and she's healthy and she follows this kind of diet and she's so conscious-minded about this, and this. So I did feel a lot of guilt and shame about that. And I feel like also people expect vegans in general to have like some kind of superpower for never getting sick or never having a health issue. And, that also made it, really hard on me.
I don't know. I agree with that. That's, even when you told me, I was like, there's got to be something that we can do differently that can help you through this. And I probably wasn't the most supportive at the first beginning. I know I had some cognitive dissonance going on. Like, what are you even thinking? Like,
Yeah.
We've been doing this for 8 years. Like there's some other way that you can heal from this.
And so also speaking with my naturopath, she didn't pressure me to make any type of change. It was literally all intuitive. And of course, I prayed for confirmation on what I was supposed to do too. And so honestly, I just feel truly grateful that it is something that I can work on and heal through food. And one of the biggest things that I never thought I would say that animal foods were healing. I always looked at animal foods and thought that they were only damaging or unhealthy. Never did I think that they could be healing. And so that is a completely new, shift. And I feel like with everything that I've gone through over the last month and a half, it has really shifted my perspective in so many ways. And a lot of the synchronicities I can't even talk about because they're not just about me. They relate to other areas in my life, and it wouldn't be appropriate for me to say. Not that it's, just like little synchronicities of me going through what I went through so I could connect with this person and help them out and teach them something new. And, it's affecting their life and, so many different things. It was pretty crazy. Also, one thing that you learn about, of course, is factory farms and how they're not good for the environment and it's not good for the animals and, those things. But I didn't even know about regenerative farming, and finding a local regenerative farm to support is so important because not only can you make sure you're supporting a local farm and you're getting a good quality local product, but it's actually restoring the health of the soil around where you live.
I never thought that you could have a farm that would be carbon negative. It didn't even seem possible to me.
Okay, so we found a few regenerative farms here, locally that we can support, but also there's this amazing farm in Idaho. And our friend Katie lives there, but in Idaho, it's
hours away from her.
It's called Alder Spring Ranch, and they're amazing. They're carbon negative. It's a regenerative farm. Everything there, they do all organic. Their beef is 100% grass-fed and finished. Just to get some things, we tried their jerky and beef sticks, and it was honestly amazing. We're planning on ordering more from them. It's an amazing farm. I definitely would check them out, and we definitely recommend them. Another thing we ordered that I've really felt like have helped me, and you can say too, but we ordered liver pills from Ancestral Supplements, and I've felt like those have really helped my body a lot. Liver, if you didn't know, obviously a healthy liver from a healthy cow or, another healthy animal is like nature's multivitamin, and it's so good for you. So if you can't eat it, you can get it in capsule form, and taking the 6 capsules a day that's recommended is about getting like 1 ounce of liver, and it's recommended that you get, I think, 3 to 6 ounces of liver per week.
Yeah, you're reading the book.
So if you're taking your liver capsules, that's just so good for you. There's so much B12 and other vitamins in there that technically really don't have to take a multi if you're eating properly and you're taking those liver capsules, because it's just freeze-dried liver in those capsules. So you just swallow them, and it's a really good way to get that in. Eventually, we will be moving towards exploring and incorporating organ meats. That's kind of a really weird thing for me to say.
Fully there, yep.
Because obviously best to have fresh, but right now just starting with the liver capsules has really helped me as well. It's one thing I knew. Another thing that really drew me into this as well was learning about tooth decay and cavities, and how those are only present when you already have a deficiency within your body. And I had cavities before going vegan, and so it's not like something that I attributed to being vegan. I definitely do feel like my cavities had gotten worse while I was vegan, and I actually have one right now that isn't horrible, but now I'm interested to see, once I'm adding in these nutrient dense foods and the liver capsules and whatnot, if that will actually, I'll be able to heal that up. And I've been a part of a few different groups on Facebook that talk about healing cavities, and unfortunately I have not, that was another big thing that made me question, that I was not able to see anyone vegan healing their cavities. But people who were including raw dairy, liver capsules, nutrient-dense animal foods, they were able to heal cavities. And that is another really big thing that, you know, shifted my perspective as well.
Always changing, always expanding.
Yes, that's one thing I have looked at too as well, just for myself, is that that's one thing I've always told myself too. Even when we were vegan, we said, you know,
if we find something healthier and it makes sense, it's something that we can agree on, it's gonna be where we go. If it's me, it's me. If it's not, then that was better for our mindset. But
yeah, I guess I am always open to learning, expanding, evolving. I don't think we ever need to get in one mindset where we're really stuck or stagnant, or we think we know it all, or there's no room left for us to grow or change or think differently. There's, you know, always new science. There's always new education, and even just about nutrition. Nutrition is a relatively new science. We're still learning so much about it. And so I think that's another thing that really just made me open my mind more and not feel so, no, I have to do it this one way. All right, well, I know this video has already been super long, so we're gonna wrap it up. There's still literally so much we could talk about and share, and like I said, we probably will. If you have any questions, let us know. That way, you know, we can talk about it in another video. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. I'd also love to hear from you, just because I've gotten so many messages ever since I just started sharing, you know, a little bit here and there on Instagram. And, you know, and I've read them, like we've read them, and it's been crazy insane how many people have had similar things happen to them. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this, yeah, thank you for supporting us. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys for, you know, just being here and supporting me and just listening to us share our truth and our journey. Again, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. We're just literally sharing what we're going through.
Yep, always staying raw, real, and with love.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.